Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Manon's marvelous adventures. Today, I am going to cut my assistant in half! Oh yeah, I forgot that I actually trapped her inside this frame. I couldn't get her out. Anybody got any ideas about how to get assistants out of frames? Look, she keeps calling for help. It's a bit annoying, really. I can just see her jumping. But alas, she is just a still picture. I can still hear her voice calling my name right now.
Yeah, you found me. I am hiding in a bush. I know Manon thinks she trapped me in a picture frame, but I made that frame because I don't think she knows how to do the cutting in half trick without cutting people in half. But while you're here, why don't I let you in on this ingenious invention that's so successfully distracting Manon. So this is the picture that she thinks contains me somehow, but it's really just an 8-frame animation condensed into one picture. What's the frame, first off? In your regular old animation, your frames look like static images that are showing one after the other, and making a moving image by flashing really fast. In this picture, all these frames are there at the same time, and they only become visible one at a time when you add the transparency on the top, because this transparency only lets you see one frame at a time, so it looks like the picture is moving. Now, to visualize that better, we might have a look at the individual frames. So here's the first frame of the image. Each of these slices will only become visible at a certain moment as the transparency passes over them. So if this is the first frame, then the second frame is the same slices, but slightly shifted, maybe 0.5 millimeter over, so that it lines up with the frame below. And the third frame is slightly shifted over, and the fourth frame, and so on and so forth, until when all these frames are layered, we have the solid image with all those slices showing at the same time. And when we slide the black line piece of paper over them, only one frame is visible at a time, which gives the illusion of these frames being flashed one after the other, making a moving image.
Okay, I think I figured it out. Every time I shift the black lines a little bit to the side, like 1 mil to the side, I see a whole new image, a whole new frame, and she jumps further into the sky. I think she's trying to signal me.
Today we're going to talk about how you can make your own kinogram or scanimation from scratch using any video you might have. And you really just need 3 things. You'll need a copy of Photoshop, you'll need a file called kinogram actions, which I have provided in the link below, and you will need a video. So we'll get started with Photoshop. The first thing you want to do is open your video file as a series of layers. So we'll go File, Import, Video Frames to Layers. And I've just got a video here of my friend jumping. Now, when we're importing video frames to layers, we don't want the whole video. We just want a small bit, because the kinogram is only 8 frames long and it can only animate about a second's worth of motion. So, and I'm going to just import that single jump right now. And we can see here that Photoshop has imported this video as a series of frames. So we now have 25 frames in this video. And I also want you to note that the video I've taken of my friend is very backlit. So this will work best if the figure that you are trying to animate is backlit or silhouetted, because we want that high contrast between the figure and the background. Now, for this animation to work, we're just going to need to do a couple of things before we can play our actions. The first thing we're going to do is we're just going to crop it to be a square. So set the ratio 1:1 square, and I'm going to crop it so the video will only show my figure here. And now if I play this animation by pressing this play button, you can see that our frames look like this. But I did mention that our kinogram can only be 8 frames, so we're going to have to cut the number of these frames down to be just 8. And I recommend doing that by deleting every second frame at first, every second layer, and I'm deleting it. And now I'm going to do that again until I get 8 frames. So that's 4, 8. I just need to delete another 3 frames. I'm going to take them from the center, thereabout. And you can see here, I have a couple of blank frames. So these are all the frames I've deleted. You can delete these from your timeline just by pressing the little bin there if you want to see what your finished animation is going to look like. So now if I play these 8 frames, we see we get that jump animation happening there. Now, this is where we can use our Photoshop actions that I've generated to really quickly turn this into a kinogram. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to load actions. And in this folder, I have this file, this action file called kinogram actions. If I open that, you get a folder with 2 actions. One is an 8-frame black and white kinogram, and the other is an 8-frame pattern. Now, if this is the first time that you are making a kinogram, we just want to run the 8-frame pattern first to make a pattern template. So we just press play on that. It makes a new file with a stripe and saves it as a pattern. So once that action has finished running, what you should have in your patterns tab is a new pattern there. And that pattern is going to be used for the second action. So once you've done this, and you've made your image square and cut it down to 8 frames, you can run the black and white kinogram action here. And it runs like this. And there is our final kinogram product. So that is the final image. It's 20 by 20 centimeters that you can print out on an A4 piece of paper.
So if you want to make something like this for yourself, maybe to escape your own megalomaniac overlord, we've included simple instructions in the link below so that you can make your own from a video, any video that you might have.